Hi Nishant, good morning, says Mr. Abhishek Sharma. Good morning, Mr. Sharma. How are you doing? How's everything? What's going on? Can you hear me? Am I audible? I will send people a message on WhatsApp. Should I send people a message on WhatsApp? A lot of people on WhatsApp might just get bothered because of my daily messages in the morning, and I feel confused about what to do with that. But let this be my last message on WhatsApp, because I don't want to trouble people on WhatsApp when they don't have anything to do with. So I have thousands of people on my WhatsApp community, so to speak. But whenever I send this message, not many people join. So I'm thinking, let me not send these messages altogether, right? Because if I'm not sending these messages, the people who are gonna join are gonna be very specific, right? The people who are actually interested. So how do you get to know about it? How are you notified? Because you joined before uh, the WhatsApp message was sent. So do you have your notification on for YouTube, or do you get a mail? What exactly is the process for you? Can you share? Mr. Ashutosh Bhandekar says good morning. Good morning, Mr. Bhandekar. So Mr. Bhandekar and Mr. Sharma, I was asking, I want to stop sending the messages on WhatsApp, because I feel, yes, YouTube, notification, and timing. Okay. So should I just stop sending messages on WhatsApp, because I don't know how many people join from WhatsApp, and I don't want to bother people on WhatsApp if they're not taking it seriously anyway, right? Because I have thousands of people on WhatsApp, all this whole channel thing, WhatsApp channel, and if they are not joining, then why take the trouble, right? What's the point? So that's my perspective. Anyway, if you can hear me, should we begin? Mr. Piyush Sethi says good morning. Good morning, Mr. Sethi. Should we begin, guys? Am I audible? All well. Yes, you're audible. I think it's good to send WhatsApp messages as new people are joining. By the way, love your new look. Well, thank you, Mr. Mr. Sharma. It's just like most teenage pregnancies, is what it was unplanned. Right? You're trying to trim, and then you do a mistake. Oh God, what did I do? And then you have to go to the guy, and he says like, there is no other way to deal with this situation. Anyway, so let's move on. Let's begin the show that we deserve, right? The show that we deserve. Bum 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 bum. The session starts around 8 a.m. So I just joined without any notification. That's great. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Thinker's Frequency. We're having such a good time. This is the peak of human civilization. We are working so hard, doing such good work for ourselves, our parents, our kids, our siblings, our husbands, our wives, our friends, everybody. Well, not other people's husbands and wives, I hope. And just when we thought things couldn't get any better, like they couldn't possibly get any better, well, they just did. Call it divine intervention, folks, but things just got a whole lot better. Now we have Thinker's Frequency, our daily mental workout, our daily dose of insights and analysis which don't lead to paralysis right before we punch in. So let's continue with our journey of reading between the lines, things that are especially interesting and important in the world of business and finance. Let's go! Oh, but before we go, we gotta follow a tradition, right? You know the tradition? You know the sweet and sacred tradition of the simultaneous sip? We'll all sip something together and it'll bring us good luck, as it always does, without fail, every day. And all you need for the simultaneous sip is a copper mug, a glass, a tank, a chalice, a stein, a canteen jug, a flask, or a vessel of any kind. Pour it with your favorite liquid. I like some hot water with black pepper in it. And here we go! Beautiful. Let's do it again. Sublime. You know what the simultaneous sip says, right? You know what it says? It says that you are not alone. It says that we are in this together. That's such a beautiful thing to say. With that out of the way, let's begin. Mr. Sumant Kumar says, "Good morning, everyone. Managed to join live today." Mr. Sumant joins us from London, I guess, right? Mr. Sumant, do you join us from UK or somewhere? I believe, if I remember correctly. So nice. We're international. 6 people, but international. Moving on. So HDFC Bank has been barred from taking new clients via the Dubai branch. Okay, there's one before we begin with today. Mr. Sharma has a question. One follow-up question from our last discussion. What are your thoughts on the impact of airline slash aviation sector in long term, given startups, example LAT's airspace plan to enter in regional air travel market? So airline is obviously a sunrise sector. It has always been a sunrise sector, and this story has been going on for 20 years, right? So aims to create aims to create efficient STOL aircraft, enhancing connectivity and self-reliance. Regional air travel, especially in tier 2 and tier 3 cities, remains underdeveloped. So if you read the first book about Indian airline industry, it was by Captain Gopinath. What was the book? Wings. Wings to Fly, something. I read it like at least 10 years ago. So anyway, Captain Gopinath was the founder of Deccan Airlines, and which got acquired by Kingfisher, and then Kingfisher went down. One of the reasons people say Kingfisher went down was because it took on a lot of debt, and a part of that was actually to buy Deccan. So what was that book? Let me just 1 second. Captain Gopinath book. Gopinath book. It was Simply Fly. Yeah, Simply Fly. The Deccan Journey. So it was a pretty good book. A Deccan Odyssey. Simply Fly, A Deccan Odyssey was Mr. Captain Gopinath's book. So if you trace that book, when that began, Indian Airlines has been a growing story. And even now, Indian Airlines, when I say Indian Airlines, I mean the whole airline industry. It's been a sunrise sector, right? Because earlier it was a very ultra premium kind of a play, but not anymore, because now airlines have just insane traffic, right? But when I say that airline as an industry is a bad industry to make money, I'm talking about the general trend of the airline industry as far as its profitability profile is considered. So number one, it's very regulated. Number two, it's very competitive. Number three, it's basically commoditized. So the aspect of making money, which is like charging premiums, charging margins, fattening up of the margins, that is very, very low. And airline as an industry globally doesn't make money. That's why there's a take on it called, if you want to be a millionaire, start as a billionaire and then start an airline. So if you look at all the airlines that have come out in India, okay, let's talk about Deccan. Never made money. Deccan was acquired by Kingfisher, never made money. Kingfisher went down, right? Then came Jet Airways. It was a good company for some time, went under, took a lot of money, took a lot of debt, right? Mr. Naresh Goyal is probably in custody right now. Then there was Indian Airlines, Air India, right? Air India had a debt of 70,000 crores, never made money. People say it was a professional problem. People say it was a Babu Shahi problem. But anyway, never made money. Went under, got acquired by Tata. They're not making money. They're struggling to make money. Then let's come to Go Air, the Wadia group. Never made money. Went under, took on a lot of debt. We discussed the Pratt and Whitney problem with the Wadia group. We had a very, very deep discussion on what happened with Wadias. Go Air was a perfectly fine airline, but its planes were on the ground. They weren't flying. Why? because the engines were they were on lease on Pratt's and Whitney. So P&W is a company which leases planes. Now, those planes had some maintenance problems, and Go Air essentially asked those people to fix those problems, right? They didn't fix. Each day or each hour a plane is grounded, it can't fly. It's a lot of loss of money. The planes kept being on the ground. The debt on Go Air kept piling up. So, what's the way to do business, right? Whenever somebody screws you over, first you ask politely. A few weeks you ask politely. A few months, you know that politeness turns into desperation. Then legal suit follows. You send a legal notice, nobody replies. You send another legal notice, nobody replies. You send a summon through the court, the person replies, then the court proceedings begin. By the time things happen, the whole airline has gone under. So that's what happened with Go Air. That went under. Then SpiceJet was another airline. Never really made money, right? Made money for a short period of time, I guess. Is losing a lot of money every day. Tried to pay debt, couldn't happen. Raised money, all of it went into statutory dues, got screwed. So right now you have Akasa, Indigo, Air India, and then other players, right? And only Indigo as an industry has been able to make money on the airline business. So if you read a book called Built to Last or something, you'll find out that most airlines lost money except for Southwest Airlines. That was the only company that made money continuously. Even after 9/11, they were making money. So this is what I meant by the airline industry as a bad investment, right? It doesn't make money. So Mr. Peter Thiel has a very, very solidified thesis on it, and it makes total sense. So that's what I meant when I said airline is an industry where you go to lose money. I didn't say that as an industry, right? It wouldn't fault. It wouldn't make sense. Of course, it's very good for consumers to have more airlines. Consumers will pay. Consumers will be very happy with more airlines and airline type structures and so on and so forth. So LAT, you told me about LAT. I hadn't read about LAT much, but now you're talking about LAT aims to create efficient STOL aircraft enhancing connectivity and self-reliance, regional air travel, especially in tier 2 and tier 3. So thank you for that information. But it's tough to make money on airlines, right? So that's what I meant. So when people say that Indigo made a lot of money, Indigo is a miraculous company, extraordinary company. There is no Indigo, right? There's just one Indigo. And there are a lot of reasons why Indigo actually succeeded. So that will be a very long conversation. But number one, they just got one kind of jets, just one kind of jets. Okay, why one kind of jets? Generally, airlines get good lease on a plane and they just take it, right? They have different kind of planes. So what happens is they save money initially, but for every plane there is a different SOP, standard operating procedure. There's a different training module. There's a different way of working, right? So the training costs, the operations costs, the pilot interoperability, all of these factors lead to a lot of money loss in the later stages. But Indigo, what it did was it just got one kind of planes, so it was standardized, right? A320s, I guess. So Indigo was just a miracle. But if you read Indigo's financials, just pick up Indigo's financials from last 5 years, from 2019 to 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. Okay, just pick it up. You'll see a few years of making money. Then came COVID. It lost a lot of money. It lost more money that it earned in the last few years and the next few years. Then it started making money. And then the last year crash happened. So this year crash happened. So it started. So even Indigo, right? If you judge it from an industry agnostic perspective, you'll find out that it doesn't make money. That to that level. Definitely, it's a profitable company. Net profits are nice. Everything is great, but it's Indigo, the only airline which makes money, and even that is not that green. That's what I meant. So as an industry, it'll keep growing up. You will see more traffic on airlines. You'll see more airports. You'll see aircraft handling companies doing very well. You'll see airport, the MRO business, maintenance, repair, and overhaul business is picking up. You'll see a lot of, all sorts of. So Adani Airports is going to be profitable, but airlines are not going to be profitable, is what I meant, right? I'm sorry I took a lot of time, but it's a good day because it's a very slow day for news. So I hope you liked the thing. Now, it's very similar to what happens in restaurants, right? Now, restaurants, people say everybody likes restaurants. People go to restaurants. People eat a lot of food, right? But restaurant as a business uh, doesn't make money, right? Everybody gets lured into the. So when you run a when you look at a restaurant from a distance, you see, oh, how much money must have this sandwich taken to make, right? You say, oh, it should have made like been like 30 rupees or 20 rupees. Oh, they're selling it at 100 rupees. My God, look at the margin. And then a guy says, just imagine if this guy sold just 500 sandwiches, right? There's a lot of traffic. If he just sold 500 sandwiches in a day, right, he must be making a lot of money. It must be very profitable, the sandwich business. Or let's say somebody looks at a roadside seller and they say, there's a lot of profit, man. He must be making a lot of money, right? You calculate how much he must be making. He must be doing sales of like 10 lakh, 20 lakh. These dumb people, stupid people on the internet, right, who are calculating how restaurants must be working. You must have seen these people, you must have seen these calculations. But restaurants are a terrible way of making money, right? You lose a lot of money on restaurants slowly and steadily, right? It's a very slow and painful way of losing money, restaurants. Why? Because, so if you notice in your area, in your locality, there must be confectioners, there must be general stores, right? If you live in a market kind of an area, uh, those shops must be running for 10, 20 years, right? 20 years, they must have been running with for 20 years, but you'll never see a restaurant in your area which has been running for 20 years, right? Barely one. If at all, there would be just one in your area which has been running for 20 years. Restaurants have a lot of turnaround cycles. So people start restaurants, in 18 months they close down because they just lose money. Why? Mr. Tiwari says, I am these people with my friends. Well, I don't blame you, Mr. Tiwari, and I didn't mean to castigate you. Please don't take offense. This is not what I meant. But so restaurants have a very high rental problem. They have a people problem. They have an equipment problem. They have what is called as a leakage problem. So a lot of money is lost on the food that gets wasted, right? And whatever flux you see in a restaurant, right, it is for those very few spike hours. So let's say from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. That's it. So all the traffic that comes to a restaurant comes at a very specific hour, right? Rush hour. And for the rest, it just goes down. So that rush hour, while it looks like it's actually, happening, it is not. So a restaurant is a very good way to make to lose money slowly. So a person starts a restaurant, right? He figures out, oh, I'm down 1 lakh this month. Oh, I'm down 50,000 this month. Oh, I'm down 80,000 this month. Oh, I almost broke even 6 months in, right? But then he goes down again. Then he breaks even. Then he goes down again. And by 18 months, he's lost all his money and then he decides to close. So that's the journey with restaurants. So just like airlines, because it's such a competitive play, right? Again, it's Peter Thiel's reading of the situation. He says, because there is so much of competition in restaurants, there's no real opportunity of making money. It looks like a sexy business from the outside, but it's not. Moving on. HDFC Bank barred from taking new clients via Dubai branch. Lenders can serve existing customers, but they cannot sell new. Action taken over non-compliance with regulatory requirements. So There's some, uh, problems as far as its bond selling. ET had first reported in May that HDFC Bank was under regulatory scrutiny after complaints from bond investors over alleged mis-selling of high-risk Credit Suisse bonds. So that's what happened with HDFC. They sold some high-risk bonds, missold them, and now they can't take any new business until the regulatory air gets cleared up. Okay, speaking of regulatory air or international problems, there is no real movement of rare earth minerals, rare earth magnets from China until now. So you remember we talked about how Mr. Modi had gone to China, and just before he was going to China, there was a lot of positive action as far as the whole rare earth magnet situation is considered. So they had said that these things will be given to India and so on and so on. But while those high level talks happened from these Chinese guys, nothing really moved on the ground. And since then, Indians have been actually getting not just magnets but entire motors from China, just to get sorted on the supplies. So those guys actually they give children to Mr. Modi. Can you believe these Chinese? They said that they'll do it, but they didn't do it, and it's been on since April, and a lot of companies have been hurt because of this. Like Bajaj actually had to halt its production of two wheelers, electric two wheelers, because of the rare earth mineral supply problem, rare earth magnet. So delay in rare earth shipments, restrictions related to press note 3, BIS clearances continue. So that's what's happening. Modi Xi's recent meet reignited hope, but both sides are still ongoing going on approvals. So that's a bit of a problem. China has a chokehold on the rare earth mineral supply, 70, 80, 70, 60 to 70%, 90%. Essentially, all of rare earth magnets and minerals come from China. They have everything. They have the entire supply chain of electric batteries, batteries, right? Solar, uh, electric vehicles, and so on and so forth. And they're still flexing those muscles. So instead of magnets, we are having to import full batteries from these guys. So they're really sneaky, these guys, right? Uh, let's hope. Let's hope. Right after that meeting, a lot of hopes that Indians had that they're going to invest in their own thing quietly died down. You imagine? That's what we talked about, if you remember. That, oh, if China essentially opens the gates uh, of these rare earth magnets, how likely is it that Indians will continue to just keep importing because they're not incentivized to actually invest in anything? It was very likely, right? Indians are famously lazy when it comes to actually going down the value chain and doing something, right? They just choose to import if it's a cost advantage. And Mr. Piyush Goyal has publicly blamed Indian corporates for doing that, right? He's been like, just to save a few dollars, you're gonna screw your Indian supplier, and then when your Indian supplier dies, you'll essentially be on the whims and fancies of the foreign supplier. And this kind of mentality is why Indian industry is in shambles. So he said that, and that is very true. Let's see if India actually takes this opportunity to go deep in the whole rare earth mineral play. Government had announced a lot of incentives. The whole mineral industry had parked like 6,000 crores, I guess, to go for rare earth mineral play. Uh, Still, that plan is still valid now because Chinese have not shown any grace even after high level talks. I think Indian government did launch PLI scheme to promote rare earth mineral play in India. Correct, Mr. Sharma. That's what I was referring to, right? So let's say if it sees some positive action, now that you're on your knees. Now, why do I have such a view, or why do people have such a view? A lot of these problems were exposed during COVID as well. People realized that the world is overtly dependent on Chinese supply chain for all practical purposes, and it needs to deleverage. But what happened? Did anything happen? People just, millions of people died because of China. Everything happened because of China, and just China just kept supplying things. Nobody really moved the needle, right? That is a very very big problem. So it's possible that despite everything, you're gonna see nothing. You're just not gonna see anything happening, right? Uh, it's just gonna be business as usual. So just one second, folks. Uh, yeah. So tides turning for a Maruti moment with $8 billion maritime push. So we've talked a lot about the Indian shipbuilding industry. Mr. Modi said, from ships to ships, we need to make in India. Shipbuilding industry is, of course, the mother of all heavy engineering industry, as Mr. Modi said. Modi ji also said that we could really go forward, and it could lead to a lot of second order and third order effects if we develop such an expertise in the shipbuilding play. So they came out with an 8 billion plan, something like a 70,000 crore plan. Yeah, 69,000 crores, where they announced multiple schemes, and they said these schemes could be uh, availed together, right? So there was a maritime development fund, revamped shipbuilding assistance scheme, and then other schemes. So there were three schemes that were brought in together. Then they also gave shipbuilding the, what was that, infrastructure status to actually help get better financing. Now they're bringing people from Korea and Japan to start making ships in India, because India doesn't have uh, it drains like $75 billion every year on forex hiring foreign ships. So even with all the big coastline that India has, the huge coastline that India has, India is a peninsular country. We spent $75 billion. How much is $75 billion? Uh, it's essentially 6 lakh crores. So we spend 6 lakh crores on foreign ships every year, right? So now we want to save that, because by 2027, 2047, with Vikasit Bharat, this number is only gonna go up. So this is very similar to what happened in the smartphone manufacturing play. India realized that India is gonna import a lot of smartphones, and if India doesn't start making those smartphones by itself, India is gonna spend more on smartphone imports than it does on crude imports, right? So that's why India started producing its own smartphones, and now we are net positive. That's exactly the vision that the government has come out with for Maritime Development Fund, right? Maritime push. They say we're gonna, right now China has 70% share of the world's shipbuilding, right? Then comes Japan, then comes Korea. US has died, so Trump is also talking about making American shipbuilding great again. Mr. Duncan says, and especially Alang. I'm sorry. Moving on. Uh, this 75 billion could become 400 billion by 2047 if something is not done instantly. 1500 total Indian ships, out of which 220 operate overseas for AXIM trade, right? 95% share of India's global trade carried on foreign vessel. 95% of Indian trade, global trade, carried on foreign vessels. Alang is aka graveyard of ships. Oh yes, yes. Okay, all right. So a lot of companies are gonna benefit: Cochin Shipyard, GRSC, Garden Reach Shipbuilder, Mascot Dock. And if you remember, this is what I had told you in the beginning of Thinkers Frequency. I've been talking about American shipbuilding and defense sector. So defense and shipbuilding are like sister concerns, right? And I've been talking about these companies for over 120 days, and now the government has moved on, right? If you remember, uh, right? So uh, like another prediction coming true. So if you remember, I have some stakes, some predictions for this market, for the shipbuilding market and for the defense sector. Right now we are spending 1.9% of our GDP on defense. I've said that that number is going to go up. In February we might see Indian budget raising Indian defense budget. right, as a percentage of GDP. And I've also been talking about the defense play, sorry, the shipbuilding play. Now, shipbuilding play has finally happened. So I've been talking about this for 100 days. It's finally happened. Just wait and watch on the defense play as well, right? That's what I'd say. Moving on. There's a report on India Inc. going the extra mile to share caregivers load. So India Inc. Corporations is giving some sort of uh, you know benefits to uh, people who have, it's called a sandwich generation. Sandwich generation are people who are actually caring for their kids and also caring for their parents, right? Sandwich generation. So a lot is going because India is an aging population. Our fertility rate is down to 1.9 for the first time, right? 1.9 is less than 2.1, which is the replacement rate necessary for the country's population to grow. So at 2.1, your fertility rate, your population grows. At 1.9, it starts declining. So it doesn't instantly decline because there's demographic momentum, right? But it stops growing. So replacement rate stops growing. So by 2050 or something, if this 1.9 stays where it is, you're gonna see that India's population will peak at 2050, around 2050, and then it will start declining. But what happens is, even if it doesn't decline, the population keeps getting older because new people are not coming in to replace those pies, right? The average population gets older. As people get older, elder care becomes a problem. If elder care becomes a problem, companies need to provide some sort of support to employees who are taking care of older parents, right? So that's going on. A very, very good movie, if you are interested in movies, is a Tokyo Story, a Japanese movie. It talks about kids who have gone to Tokyo and their parents coming to Tokyo to watch their kids, seeing that they've become sort of unemotional about their parents. So it's a heart wrenching movie. It'll make you cry, but it's very old, and some people might not be. So if you're a movie buff and if you haven't watched Tokyo Story, watch it. It's just a brilliant movie, and that's what's happening in India, or beginning to happen in India. India is like 20, 30 years away from Tokyo Story movement, but it's already happening. I see a lot of young people wanting to live away from their parents, right? They believe that it's the way to live. So that is Tokyo Story in a nutshell. So beautiful movie. It made me cry. Moving on. And it's also a very culturally relevant movie, right? When was it out? Tokyo Story, 1953. 1953. Yeah, it was a brilliant movie, man. My God. Whew. God damn it. Just thinking about it has made me emotional. 1953. Holy shit. Anyway, moving on. A lot of political chit chat which we best not discuss. So Indians are keen on gold card to go to US because H1B has become expensive. So H1B will now cost 80 lakh, 90 lakh rupees, $100,000. And we said that no matter the cost of H1B, people in India will still try to leave India. That's exactly what is happening. People are going to UK, Canada, Australia, or whatnot, and they want to. They're still trying. So there's something called a gold card, which allows you $1 million. So for 8 to 9 crores, you can have. It's an investment in the economy, non-refundable, American economy, and you have a visa thing. Then there's a platinum card, where you give $5 million, and there's an easier path to citizenship, and then you also get some tax benefits. Now, gold card is a replacement of EB5, or let's say a competitor to EB5, which is another visa where you give about $700 to $800,000. That's about 5 crore rupees to US. It's shown as an investment in US companies, right? Making jobs in US, and that's when you get an entry to the country, United States. So Indians are exploring all of that. At the same time, Indians are also being called as chindi and bad tippers. So there's a deep dive on tipping as an industry that Indians go to US and Europe, and then they behave like the chindi people that they are, right? And then becomes a very big news. So recently, a total moron on the internet. I don't remember who it was, but it was a very big news apparently that this guy went to US and he said that why do I have to tip somebody in a restaurant? Some real, harebrained piece of shit, and it invited a lot of racial hate towards India. That this is what you people are, right? You don't tip, and so on and so forth. So obviously, a lot of these queries which are going for gold cards and platinum cards have not materialized yet. Because India, but Indians are evaluating, because what's the Indian dream? Do you remember the Indian dream? We've talked about the Indian dream in great depth in one of the episodes of Thinker's Frequency, right? We talked a lot about it. What is the Indian dream? Is to actually go to US and follow the American dream. Right? But at the same time, the cultural problems exist, right? The whole littering thing and the non tipping thing. Again, there's a movie that you can watch about this. It's not about this, but it's very relevant. I've talked a lot about it. Glengarry Glen Ross, 1993. When did Glengarry Glen Ross come out? Glengarry Glen Ross, 92. Yeah, 92. So great movie in which they talk about patels. So they say patels, man, you don't want patels. These people are real estate salesmen, and they say, why do these people talk to salesmen? I guess they want to feel superior. Ed Harris, Al Pacino, Kevin Spacey, and one of the episodes, one of the scenes, Al Pacino says, "Give me the leads." Whoa, Patel? Rather than Patel? Where did you get this from? A morgue? How am I gonna make a living with these deadbeats? Huh? Where did you get it from? A morgue? Lord Shiva gave him $1 million. He wouldn't sign the deal. The Lord Vishnu comes in. Screw you, John. Screw you. Right? Money under mattress. And then he says, I know my business. You know yours. Your business is being an asshole. Patel? Come on. And then he throws that. So that's Indian, perception. Unfortunately. Moving on. But Glengarry Glen Ross is, by the way, a great movie that you can watch. Extraordinary movie. Nothing comes close. Moving on. Shrinking international intake has rocked private colleges of US because a lot of money comes from comes from Indians to these colleges, because Indians pay a lot of money, tuition fee in full. So it's rocking the boat for the US colleges a bit, but not really a big problem. Moving on. There's a very deep dive on psychedelics. Now, the regular viewers of Thinker's Frequency would know how we've actually delved deep into the world of psychedelics, and we've discussed it greatly. Now, I have been talking about psychedelics for a very long time, so my reading, let me show you. No, there's a book. It's called LSD, My Problem Child. It's the autobiography of Dr. Albert Hoffman, the inventor of LSD. So the book is called LSD, My Problem Child, Sacred Drugs, Reflections on Sacred Drugs, Mysticism and Science. So it's one of the best books that I've personally read. It's just extraordinary. And it talks about how LSD came on. It was discovered, it was invented, let's say. They were working on ergot, a fungus, and they were working on the effects of ergot synthesized derivative for migraine. So they came out with a drug on migraine, which is still working, by the way, from ergot. And while Dr. Albert Hoffman, a great person, was working on this drug, LSD was invented, lysergic acid diethylamide. Now, when it was invented, he accidentally had a trip, right? So it was a surreal experience. He wrote it to those guys, but the pharmacology guys, the testing guys, they basically didn't really, they didn't say anything. But 5 years later, when he had gotten some more pull in the Sandoz company, he said that you got to test it again, and then began the revolution of psychedelics, right? Psilocybin and so on and so forth. So LSD changed the world in ways that cannot be overstated. It turned out to be an extraordinary drug. It opened people's minds. It changed people's lives. It proved to be a spiritual experience. It proved to be a mind-bending, mind-altering, mind-expanding event. Mr. Steve Jobs said taking LSD is amongst the two or three most important experiences of my life, right? And it turned out to be a very good drug for psychiatry because therapy had a lot of problems, still does. SSRIs are a scam. So it turned out to be a very, very good way for people to actually have, come out of PTSD. And then it also proved to be, since it gave an out of body experience, it proved to be a very good thing for terminally ill patients as a pain reliever, because whatever time they had in their lives, it just relieved them of their pain and it gave them very good feelings. So LSD changed the world, right? You know what? When I met Sanjeev Bichchandani sir, I actually gave him LSD, my problem child, as a book, and I said, if not for me, sir, you wouldn't know about this book. So it's my gift to you. I don't know if he liked it. His facial expressions were confusing. Anyway, so then what happened was the whole thing became a big movement. The war thing happened and hippie culture. So firstly it was among scientists, then it came down to artists and musicians and so on and so forth, writers, and then it came down to people. When people came out, it sort of got popular, it got abused, right? And then government just banned it, totally banned it, and not just for use. Government banned it for research also. So even the research on LSD became illegal. So you couldn't do a research on LSD, even if you wanted to. Even now you can't. But whatever research happened in the gray market always proved to be good. So LSDs have proven to be an extraordinary way for people to actually deal with their mental health problems. And whenever there is a research established on this, it proves to be good. LSD is also non-toxic, non-addictive, right? It's the only drug which is non-toxic, non-addictive. So if you go to MDMA, ketamines, or whatever, right? Even if you go to tea, coffee, anything, right? It creates neural dependencies, but not LSD. So LSD, My Problem Child, great book. You could read it. These guys have done a research. Could the microdosing of psychedelics be a key missing piece in the mental health jigsaw? The answer is yes. There has not been one study, of course, underground, because they banned its proper research. There's not been one study which has not confirmed its good effects, right, on people's mental health. So that's that. A lot of things are happening. Aldous Huxley, the great writer. Have you read a book called Brave New World? So Brave New World is a book. I've talked about it. Viewers of Thinkers Frequency would remember. It's written by Aldous Huxley, sir. Rest in peace. He was also one of the guys, LSD's big proponents, right? He's probably one of the guys who actually named LSD, named psychedelics. So it's a mix, psyche and delu something. So psyche is soul and mind, Greek words, and delu referring to the mind's ability to reveal or manifest itself. So psychedelics is probably great writer, extraordinary writer, and a very big proponent of LSD. Moving on. So these people are doing research. I just wish LSD's research becomes legal again, right? Because you will see a revolution happening in mental health, because there's a lot of conspiracies around why the government actually politically banned LSD, and that ban was supported by pharma industry, right? because they believe that it was solving problems that these people didn't want to be solved. Now, this is not my reading of the situation, so I'm not espousing a conspiracy theory, right? This is a very popular notion that was actually opening people's minds in a lot of ways, and it was helping people, and the pharmaceutical nexus, or the psychiatry nexus essentially just didn't like it too much. Moving on. Mr. Sharma says, as you mentioned, there seems to be a lot of benefits from LSD. I wonder what is the downside due to which it got banned. So the downside is, that when you're on a trip, so LSD's trip is very long. It's like a 12-hour trip, right? It's dosed on like very micrograms, 300 micrograms and stuff. Sometimes people hurt themselves because they think that they're flying, so some people just jump off the roofs and stuff like that. So it very very rarely though, it doesn't happen a lot, but people sometimes have self-harming tendencies, right? That is a problem. Sometimes people have something called a bad trip, which is essentially, instead of surreal experiences or mild altering experiences, they have a scary episode, right? But other than that, it's non-toxic, non-addictive, and there are a few, like there's not much of a, personally I can't say, apart from this bad trip thing and self-harming thing, both of which are solved by the way, if you're in a safe environment, right? Or if you, so it shouldn't be any problem. But those were the two big downsides which you, if you're curious. Good question, by the way. Thank you, because I said that and the whole spiel might have sounded like I'm a salesman of LSD, which I'm not. So thank you for that, Mr. Sharma. Moving on. Warming up to the oldest workouts. Professional wellness seekers and cultural enthusiasts are turning to traditional Indian martial arts and practices, from Kalari Payattu to Silambam to Malakhamb. Indians, the corporate class, these people are finding a lot of love for Kalari Payattu. Kalari Payattu is called the divine martial art. It's a Kerala origin martial art. It's said to be the oldest martial art of the world. Kalari Payattu, right? Kalari Payattu, Marm Kalari. These are the origin of martial arts for the world. So martial arts came from India. So the earliest origin of martial arts is in Kalari Payattu. Kalari Payattu and Marm Kalari and Silambam. Silambam is Maharashtra based, right? If I'm not wrong. Sorry, Tamil Nadu based. I'm really sorry. Tamil Nadu based. Malakhamb is Maharashtra based, right? And Gatka is Punjab based. So these are basically India's Tai Chi or Jiu Jitsu or all of these foreign martial arts essentially, which have been very very popular. So karate, taekwondo, and Krav Maga, Israeli Krav Maga, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. Kalari Payattu is India's answer to that, or India, like the origin. Now Marm Kalari is basically pressure points, like hurting with pressure points. So you have like 117 pressure points in a body, and if you choke point, so that's Marm Kalari. But warming up, professionals are warming up to these martial arts, supplementing them with their gym workouts, because these things are interesting. They have like a meditative feel to it, right? So it's becoming fashionable, like Gatka, Kalari Payattu, and so on and so on. So right now it's very regionalist. So you can't learn Kalari Payattu if you are in North India. Unfortunately, there are not much centers to it. There's not much of awareness on it. Unfortunately, right? Karate comes from Japan. Tai Chi comes from China. Jiu-Jitsu, Krav Maga, Judo, again Japanese. India's they are not internationalized, or let's say they're not, but now this is happening. So I got introduced to martial arts as a kid. I learned karate, right? And when I was learning karate, I went till brown belt, and I learned a lot about Indian martial arts, Kalari Payattu, Marm Kalari, and so on and so forth, right? and it's just fascinating how these things have not been mainstreamed as yet. So there's so little information or so little awareness about Kalaripayattu, uh, despite it being the oldest martial art in the world. Did you know about Kalaripayattu, viewers? Uh, you must. So read about Kalaripayattu, read about Maram Kalari, enroll in a class. It's just beautiful. It's just uh, extraordinary, right? Nothing comes close. And I'm not disparaging the foreign martial arts. Nothing against karate or nothing against, uh, you know, uh, taekwondo or judo or whatever. But no cinema representation has happened of these martial arts as yet. So one video came out, a music video, a very popular music video from a guy called Hanuman Kind, the rapper, right? He came out with a music video for a song called Run It Up, right? And that Run It Up became a rage because it displayed Kalaripayattu and Gatka and other martial arts in its play. So it was just amazing. It was beautiful, right? You can watch that music video and you'll see it's just fascinating. It's just incredible. Moving on. So, sanctions on Iran. We've talked a lot about this. Iran has a $25 billion deal with Russia, but Europe uh, and US are sanctioning it. No news, no nothing new on that. Mr. Abhishek Sharma says there was one movie based on that. I think Baghi. No, I didn't watch it. I'm sorry. Not didn't watch Baghi, so no clue. Uh, Moving on. Trump has urged Microsoft to fire Lisa Monaco, global affairs president. Microsoft has been in a lot of controversies lately, especially when it comes to US government operations. So Microsoft was running an op, which was a defense contract, and they actually had that sensitive defense contract uh, given to Chinese people. And I'm not saying American Chinese, not Chinese who are living in America, or it's not that. They actually gave a sensitive military contract project to people in China. So now this is not to do with that. Trump has said that she has different problems. So let's see what Microsoft does. Right? Moving on. Mr. Bjorn Borg. He's a tennis player, a legendary tennis player, Bjorn Borg. He Bjorn. So he's a European, Swedish guy, I think, right? He's come out with his memoir. It's called what is it called? Heartbeats. Now, why is Bjorn Borg a legend? So, Mr. Bjorn Borg, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. I don't know if I am, but probably I'm wrong. So let me check what's the right Jean pronunciation. Okay, it's Bjorn Borg. One second. How to pronounce Bjorn?
We are looking at how to pronounce this name. How do you say it correctly? What is the correct pronunciation? In Swedish, it is said as Bjorn.
Bjorn. Okay, so it's Bjorn Borg. Now, Bjorn Borg, Mr. Bjorn Borg and Mr. George McEnroe, they've had one of the most fascinating tennis rivalries in the history of the sport. So, one of the most intense rivalries of America's McEnroe and this European Bjorn Borg. Now, there's a very very good movie on it. Very good movie on it called Borg versus McEnroe, which is just a beautiful film. Shia LaBeouf, I guess, was McEnroe. Yeah. So great movie if you want to watch a sports rivalry. So have you watched a movie called Rush? Rush is Mr. Nicky Lauda against somebody who was played by Chris Hemsworth, right? And Nicky Lauda, Chris Hemsworth, who was the guy in Rush. Rush, Chris Hemsworth character. So James Hunt, yeah. So James Hunt, Nicky Lauda, and Bog versus McEnroe. Great movie. You can watch it. Rush is a great movie. I really loved it. Yeah, it's one of the best sports rivalry movies. People say Ford versus Ferrari was a great movie. I say nah. Watch Rush. Rush is just extraordinary. One of the best of all time. Bond versus McEnroe would also. Bog versus McEnroe is also a very good movie. He's coming out with his own memoir. He retired at the age 25, and then he got into a lot of problems. Great guy, extraordinary person. Tennis player, and good movie recommendation, I guess. Moving on. There's a article on fillet of fish. Fillet of fish. On McDonald's rise to popularity. For McDonald's rise, you can of course watch. What was the movie's name? The book I remember, Grinding It Out, the biography of Ray Kroc, the founder. Great movie. Great movie. So they've done a feature on fillet of fish rise to popularity. Fillet of fish is a product by McDonald's. And with that, we come to the end of the 126th episode of Thinker's Frequency, guys. I hope you liked it. There was not a lot of news. Slow day for news today. But I hope you enjoyed the episode. I hope it added value. Definitely added value to me. From tomorrow onwards, I'm not gonna be sending WhatsApp messages, right? Because I think it's not leading to anything. I think I'm gonna get these many people without the WhatsApp messages. So no WhatsApp messages from tomorrow, right? And yeah. But it was lovely. It was lovely. Our daily mental workout, our daily dose of insights and analysis, which don't lead to paralysis, right before we punch in. It's 9 or 7. We have some time, so if you have some questions, you can ask me. We're going to punch in anytime soon. I wish you a beautiful day personally and professionally. And I'll see you tomorrow, same place, same time, hopefully. I should thank Mr. Abhishek Sharma, Mr. Ashutosh Bhandekar, Mr. Piyush Sethi, Mr. Sumant Kumar, Mr. Tushar Tiwari, of course, Mr. Duncan. I don't know your name. Cheers. Happy Sunday, everyone, says Mr. Bhandekar. Happy Sunday to you too, Mr. Bhandekar. And everybody else who joined. It was lovely. If you have any questions, we can have a few minutes to ourselves. Otherwise, Sunday or Saturday shall have movie recommendation section. That's exactly what I do, Mr. Tushar Tiwari. Mr. Tiwari, if you've noticed, on Sunday and Saturday, I try to share movie and book recommendations. Right? On all the weekends, I try to give some recommendations because a good movie changes lives, man. When I watch a new good movie, it really sets me up for a few days at least. It changes my mind. It changes how the way I look at things. If it's a really good movie, okay, if it's something new, something the effect of a very good movie on me is transformational. I just absolutely love it, right? And I want to share that joy with people. So I'm very passionate about movie recommendations, right? So I share it, and I hope you watched Match Point, right? And you loved it. So that's just beautiful. Miss Shivani Rajgarya says WhatsApp message helps, easier to join. It is, but I have like thousands of people on WhatsApp, and I don't know if it gets used by people. So I'm in two minds. I could send WhatsApp messages, but I just feel, let's say if 2 people or 5 people come from WhatsApp, and rest 2,500 people don't. Should I really do it? The impact will be exponential. Initially, there may be few joiners, but gradually people will join. It'll help as a reminder for both old and new members. But we've been doing it for 126 days now. 126 days. It's not a new activity. This is the 126th episode. If people were to join, and if this were to grow, right? I mean, it would have grown already, don't you think? Or am I being pessimistic about it? Because it's really not growing. We had the exact same number of people in the first episode as well. Right now, we have 8 people on YouTube, I can see. And how many people on LinkedIn? 4 people on LinkedIn. So 12 people. This is exactly the same number of people we had like on the first day. So it's not growing, unfortunately. And I don't know if it can even grow, despite all the value I try to provide and the value I get. So it's not just a one-way street. My money has doubled, right? And I have learned a lot. My analysis is sharper and deeper than ever. So I've gained a lot. My routine, it's a good routine, great routine. Routine is the reward for me. But, it's not growing. Ms. Shivani Rajgaria says, I'm usually waiting for your message around 8 to 10 to join. Okay then, I will not stop with the message, Ms. Rajgaria, if you say so. And yeah, any questions, folks? 9/11. It's 9/11. Oh, it's nothing to laugh about, I'm sorry. But again, if there is a movie you can watch around 9/11, there's a great movie called Remember Me. Remember Me. It's Robert Pattinson, the Twilight guy. He's not much of an artist, right? Twilight, piece of shit. But Remember Me is a terrific movie. And then vaguely related to, or not vaguely, but quite seriously related to 9/11 is a Deepa Nayar's movie called The Reluctant Fundamentalist. Reluctant Fundamentalist. It's by Riz Ahmed, with Riz Ahmed, the actor, and Kate Hudson, one of my all-time favorite actors, female, of the world, Kate Hudson. So 9/11, great movies. Remember Me, The Reluctant Fundamentalist. The Reluctant Fundamentalist has an India angle to it, so you can watch it for that. Great movie. Since there are no questions, I'll take a leave, guys. Thank you so much for joining. It's lovely talking to you all, always. It's a lot of learning. It's a great learning session. Nishant, thank you, says Miss Rajgaria. Thank you, ma'am. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.